They took the first step against America back in December, and I spoke about it, and now the first step has come back and it's kicking us. Let's talk about it.
Oh, well, people need to be awake and they need to be awake and they need to be aware. They need to stand up against.
So I was about to go to bed, and I decided to check my Twitter one last time, and Magdalene Rose, who I think you all know that I speak about her. I like her channel and her Twitter. And she tweeted this out. This is why you have to be skeptical of legislation lots of Democrats are super keen to get behind. As weird as it sounds, be suspicious of bipartisanship. I have actually, at one point, I actually asked her to speak about this because it's a huge issue. Usually, Tom Fitton of Judicial Watch has said this. Bipartisanship usually means that the Democrats are like pulling the wool over the Republicans' nose. They pressure for bipartisanship, and then bipartisanship basically means us caving and them doing things that we really shouldn't want them to do. So yeah, it's hugely something to be suspicious of. Anyway, it's why you don't blatantly attack Republican senators who question massive bills with lack of conservative support. When this bill came out, everybody was like, but bipartisan, but bipartisan, but bipartisan. No, bipartisan bad, So let's see what came out about the First Step Act. She retweeted this. Tucker Carlson blasted. Tucker Carlson, we like Tucker Carlson. Can't get it to play. I played it before and paused it. That's probably why. All right, here we go.
Well, so far this year, just this year, 2019, more than 2,000 federal prisoners have been put on the nation's streets thanks to the passage of the First Step Act. You may remember that law. It was sold to lawmakers and to the rest of us as a way to ease overcrowded prisons and give a second chance to nonviolent offenders. That's not what it's turned into. In fact, that law has allowed hundreds of violent criminals and sexual predators back onto the streets. An administration official provided this show exclusively with data on what crimes were committed by the felons being released under the First Step Act. Turns out most of them were not in jail for smoking a joint 30 years ago. Instead, of the roughly 2,200 inmates who've been set free so far, 496 of them were in prison on charges relating to weapons or explosives. 239 had committed sex offenses such as rape and sexual assault. 106 committed armed robbery, and 59 had committed aggravated assault or murder. It's not what we were promised.
Yep. I'm not surprised. And then somebody also screenshot the statistics right here. I'll link Mog's tweet in the description. I don't know who this person is. I'm gonna check into them. Looks pretty good. Maybe I'll end up following this Twitter account. And so yeah, and I actually replied talking about how I covered this. I only got 114 views. Guys, I don't want to be like one of these people who is like beggy and like, oh, everybody please share my channel, but I cover things for the most part that other people don't cover them because they need to be covered. And there's certain organizations, TPUSA, who reach out to people as their channels are growing and say, hey, join us. You'll be helped along. You'll make money. Da, 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 da. And they help along people. They get them on Fox. They get them collaborations with people who they've already helped along. But as a condition for this, it's also, you can only talk about pre-approved stuff. Now, how do I know this? I know this because Magdalene Rose was originally in this program where she was being helped along, and then she was dropped from it and then blocked by people in some of these organizations. I've also heard a couple other YouTubers who've said maybe not. They've also said that they've gotten emails saying they could be helped along, but they didn't want to. Like one person said she was offered to be helped along with her channel, and she didn't do it because she knew it was going to come with strings. I don't think they actually tell that in the email. I think that comes out later, because I don't think Magdalene was ever actually told that. I think it was just once she agreed to be helped along or whatever, or got taken, she thought, oh great, I'm getting taken in under the wings of, these conservatives. And she was like, we got to talk about this, we got to talk about that. And they basically told her, you're not allowed to talk about these things. I can talk about this happening to her because it's on her old, if you go into her YouTube channel, it's in her old videos. So she has gone public with this. So I'm not like doxing out secrets of hers or anything, for absolute sure, because she's talked about it. The videos are still up and everything. John Miller is basically the only other like YouTube channel that did any pushback against it. So he's with the Blaze. I guess the Blaze media didn't say that he couldn't cover it. But a lot of these groups, you see all these groups work together, and it's great that like we have that and it helps everybody develop and grow. But the problem with that is then these people say what you can and can't talk about. And people like me and Magdalene, you need to share our stuff. Actually, I'll tell you the other channel, because she also said it publicly on a video. It was Political Avenger. I know for absolute sure said she was offered to be helped along. And I believe I've heard that from other people besides Magdalene and Political Avenger. I think I heard it before Magdalene from somebody without a lot of details and didn't pay much attention to it. But after I heard it repeatedly, and I always heard the same phrase, helped along. You'll be helped along in your career if you just play nice. And, so you're not allowed to talk about certain things. I think part of it is they have people talking about popular things because they want their channels to grow, and that's all fine and good. But what about that stuff that nobody talks about? That stuff needs to get out there. Somebody needs to cover that stuff. And that's one of the things I cover. And Magdalene also covers stuff that's a little bit off the beaten path. Usually a little more popular than what I cover, but I cover stuff like this First Step Act. And you guys gotta help me. You guys gotta get this stuff out there. I need the reach. And I hate to sound like, oh, everybody's gotta, but it's very important that people find out about this stuff, because there was basically no pushback. The video that I originally did about this, it's gonna go into the playlist. Let me switch over here. So the video, you guys gotta watch it. I'll link it in the description. It has 114 views, and I put it up 7 months ago. It was like late December. But I talked about, one of the biggest things I talked about was the fact that they took a bunch of these black conservatives onto a retreat, and it was like all expense, luxurious, paid retreat. And then most of them turned around and did this lobbying for the First Step Act in Washington. So it's almost like they were kind of bribed to pass this, or also like brought on board. And I found a lot of people on the left talk about the Koch brothers being conservative, but they're not really. What they do is they actually cover these kind of like mellow type organizations. So they give money to like Ben Shapiro and TPUSA, who cover some really great conservative stuff, but they leave some stuff to be desired. Like, they won't push certain envelopes. And so then the only people who end up pushing those envelopes ends up being like the Jew hater. I don't even like the term far left, but the Jew hater alt-right types. So there's very few people who are actually conservative and like not Jew haters who are covering this stuff. So you have like me, Magdalene, what's his name? Roger, the gay guy that makes videos in his car. I'll link him in the description. He is also anti-TPUSA, which he's publicly been against. Tree of Logic doesn't like them. So, there's a small handful of us. And Tree didn't make a video against the First Step Act, but she did mention it in one of her videos or one of her live streams. and I think she would get behind. I think it was an actual video because I remember like mentioning it in the comments, and I referred her to John Miller's video, and she really liked his video. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that was like a video that existed, because she does live streams and she doesn't save a lot of them, so I hate to like repeat something she said in a live stream because she didn't keep it up, and that's like a low level dox that I don't want to do to people. Anyway, so you see here, I covered it. Like I said, I covered it right after, you can see right after the election. This was the last video I put out before the election, and then I covered it in December. I want to move on. One of the things that I never actually made the additional videos on the Step Act, and now it's coming back on the scenes. I want to discuss this again. My biggest concern, I still never finished reading it. Like I had said in my previous video, it's 34 pages of legalese. But in my skimming of it, this is what I found an issue with. I found an issue with the fact that you get points to get time off your sentence by being involved with faith-based organizations and activities. We're gonna just hop through the Control F of the word faith, and you're gonna see what I mean. Faith-based classes or services. This is a list of things that give you time off. May include, and that's listed. And recidivism reduction partnerships, again, including faith-based, art, community-based. Not applicable. Faith-based considerations, in considering any program, treatment, or regimen, group, company, charity, person, or entity of any kind under any provision of this act or the amendments made by this act, the fact that it may be or is faith-based may not be a basis for any discrimination against it for any purpose. You got that? Meaning like any faith? Any faith-based activity can be included. I'm on a pre-strike, but I don't want to quite draw the conclusions that gave me a huge red flag, but I hope you're catching on. Faith-based. Requests by prisoners related to faith-based needs. This could be diet. And moving on, for mentorship for youth. I think this is like for juvie offenders. I didn't read the whole thing. I just kind of skimmed it. And it looks like from what I looked at that they're talking about juvie offenders. I should actually read it better. They want the Bureau of Prisons to set this up as a pilot program, which means, more money paid for by the taxpayers. How wonderful. All of this because people can't follow the law. They need to be catered to because they can't follow the law. So we have to spend money on them so that they can follow the law when they come out, because I don't like this act. So there was more stuff you should definitely watch. I'm going to put this in the playlist. Watch the whole playlist. In the order, actually, yeah, watch the playlist in the order that I'm going to put it in. So I'm going to actually stick this, I'm going to push this up to the beginning of the playlist. And I want you to watch the whole playlist and learn about this act. I'll also link the text of the act in the description. Like I said, it's 34 pages of legalese. If anybody else wants to look at it and see if anything else stands out to them. But that's the part that really stood out to me that I had wanted to make a video about. I also made videos previously. One of the videos that's going to be linked is based on this. I went and looked at what kind of prisons people get put in for what kind of actions. And I was finding, I believe the summary was that even low security prisons, I was starting to see murderers. I found that a little concerning. There was one level like lower than low security, but low security I already found like a few like, maybe it was just manslaughter, which is basically like a softer sentence for murder. Like if you murder someone by accident, like run over them with your car or whatever. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not like a lawyer or a cop or anything, so but I have watched, a few shows or whatever, and looked up some definitions, but if I'm not mistaken, I'm not even sure if it was manslaughter, but I believe I was seeing stuff in low level. Go back and watch my old video on that, in low level, and I was already kind of like, why are these people in a low security prison? That doesn't sound like someone who should be in a low security prison. Sounds like they should be in medium at least. Maybe high level prison. So that was another thing that I found that concerned me. Anyway, this video is getting way too long. Watch this video, watch my other videos. Definitely watch John Miller's video. It's probably better than my videos. But anyway, we need to keep talking about this. Please share this information. Thanks for stopping by my channel. I will see you all next time.
People need to be awake and they need to be aware. They need to stand up against the stuff. People need to be awake. People need to be awake and they need to be aware. They need to stand up against this stuff.
And it's so politically engaged. And it's so politically engaged.